It was late at night. Mercan was standing alone in the hospital corridor. There were tears in her eyes, but she was trying her best to control her emotions. Only one thought was running through her mind. If Eylül discovered the truth, everything would change. Ateş slowly walked toward her. Mercan. Mercan quickly wiped away her tears. I'm fine. Ateş looked at her and said, You always say that when you're not fine at all. Mercan lowered her eyes. I don't want you to lose your sister because of me. Ateş remained silent for a few moments. You are not the reason, Mercan. You are my life. Tears filled Mercan's eyes. But neither of them knew that Eylül was standing nearby and had heard their conversation. Eylül's face showed both shock and pain. Your life? Ateş turned around. Eylül. Eylül angrily asked. How many things have you hidden from me, brother? Mercan became completely silent. Eylül said, Now I want the whole truth. Ateş tried to explain things to her, but Eylül left without saying another word. That night, only one question remained in Eylül's mind. What exactly was Mercan hiding from her? The next morning, Eylül went to the doctor with her medical reports. She asked, Why wasn't I told about the donor during my surgery? The doctor remained silent for a few seconds. Eylül asked again, What was the donor's name? Before the doctor could answer, he looked away. Eylül immediately realized that someone was hiding the truth from her. The doctor made an excuse about an emergency and left. Eylül looked at her phone and quietly said, If no one is going to tell me the truth, I'll find it myself. Meanwhile, Mercan returned home, only to find Eylül waiting for her. Eylül said, Mercan, I need to ask you something. Mercan stopped. Who saved my life? Mercan's face suddenly went pale. Eylül, just give me one name. Mercan remained silent. Eylül asked, Why are you silent? Tears appeared in Mercan's eyes. Because some truths don't set people free, T. The night had become even darker, but inside Ateş's house, nobody was able to sleep. Eylül was still staring at the message on her phone. Now the second part of the truth will be revealed. Those words kept repeating in her mind. Ateş looked at her carefully. Eylül, who sent you this message? Eylül slowly raised her eyes. I don't know. Then why did you believe it? Because whoever sent it knew things that only a few people could know. Ateş became nervous. What things? Eylül took a deep breath. The operation, the donor, and your past. Ateş suddenly became silent. Mercan was standing a few steps away. She could see the fear in Ateş's eyes. Eylül noticed it too. You know something? Ateş immediately replied, No. Eylül stepped closer. Then why are you afraid? Ateş had no answer. Mercan finally spoke. Eylül, please. Not tonight. Eylül turned toward her. Why not tonight? You have been telling me to wait for days. Mercan said nothing. Eylül continued. Every time I ask a question, everyone becomes silent. Every time I get close to the truth, someone tries to stop me. She looked at Ateş. But this time, I won't stop. She walked away. Ateş looked at Mercan. She knows too much. Mercan quietly replied. Then we have no choice anymore. Ateş asked. What do you mean? Mercan looked into his eyes. We have to tell her. Ateş shook his head. No. Why? Because if she learns everything, she may never forgive me. Mercan replied. Maybe she has the right not to. Ateş looked at her with pain in his eyes. You think I don't know that? Mercan moved closer. Then stop running from your past. Ateş remained silent. For years, he had tried to bury those memories. But now the past was coming back. And this time, he could not escape it. Meanwhile, Eylül was sitting alone in her room. She opened the medical documents again. Her eyes stopped at one particular name. She whispered, Why is this name connect? Eylül stood frozen in the darkness. She stared at the man in front of her, trying to understand why his face felt so familiar. You? The man took one slow step toward her. Yes, Eylül. It's me. Eylül stepped backward. I remember you. The man looked at her carefully. You were there that night. He nodded. I was there. Eylül's breathing became heavier. You were at the hospital. Yes. You were with my father. The man remained silent. Eylül's voice began to tremble. What happened to me that night? The man looked toward the photograph on the table. Your father was afraid that you would discover the truth. What truth? That your family was never what you believed it was. Eylül shook her head. No, I don't believe you. The man replied calmly. You don't have to believe me. You only have to remember. Suddenly, Eylül remembered a small room from her childhood. She was sitting on a hospital bed. She was crying. Ateş was standing beside her. and her father was shouting at someone. Take her away from here. Eylül opened her eyes. Ateş was there. The man said, yes, Ateş was there. Then why did he never tell me? Because he promised your father. Eylül's eyes filled with tears. What did he promise? The man replied, to protect you from the truth. Eylül looked at him. And what did my father do? The man's expression became serious. He made a deal with the wrong people. Eylül whispered, what kind of deal? Before the man could answer, a car suddenly appeared outside the house. The man immediately looked toward the window. They found me. Eylül became frightened. Who? They are coming for you. He grabbed Eylül's hand. We have to leave. Eylül pulled her hand away. I'm not going anywhere with you. The man said, if you stay here, you will never get the chance to learn the truth. Eylül looked at him for a few seconds. Then she grabbed the photograph and followed him. At the same time, Eylül stood completely frozen. The question kept echoing in her mind. Was it you, Ateş? Ateş looked at her with tears in his eyes. No, Eylül. I would never hurt you. The mysterious man smiled. Then tell her the truth. Ateş clenched his fists. Enough. Eylül stepped toward him. I want to hear it from you. Ateş looked at Mercan. Mercan's eyes were filled with fear. She knew that whatever Ateş said next would change everything. Ateş finally took a deep breath. That night, I was driving the car. Eylül's face went pale. You were driving? Yes. Then why did you always tell me you weren't there? Ateş lowered his eyes. Because I was trying to protect you. Eylül shook her head. Protect me from what? From the truth. The mysterious man interrupted. The truth is that the accident wasn't an accident. Eylül looked at him. What do you mean? He replied. Someone deliberately caused that crash. Eylül's breathing became heavy. Who? The man looked toward Ateş. Ask him. Ateş immediately said. I didn't do it. Eylül cried. Then who did? Before anyone could answer, the lights suddenly came back on. The mysterious man was gone. Ateş immediately looked around. He escaped. Mercan ran toward the door. He couldn't have gone far. Ateş stopped her. No. This is exactly what he wanted. Eylül looked at Ateş. What did he want? To make us doubt each other. Eylül wiped her tears. But I still don't know the truth. Ateş stepped closer. You will. When? Tonight. Eylül looked at him. No more secrets. Ateş nodded. No more secrets. Meanwhile, the mysterious man reached his car. He called someone. It worked. A voice asked, does Ateş suspect anything? He replied, he suspects everything except the truth. The voice laughed. Good. The man looked toward the old house. Soon, Eylül will discover who her real enemy is. The call ended.